didn't want to come back here. A part of me had hoped the property had been swallowed by the woods in the years since I'd last seen it, that the forest had crept over the roofline, dragged the whole homestead into the soil like a carcass, leaving nothing but memory. Then I could have shrugged, turned around, and pretended the past was truly gone. But the cabin was still standing, leaning a little, its porch sagging like a tired mouth. The woods hadn't eaten it yet. They were waiting. Wilson pressed close to my leg as I stepped out of the truck, ears up, tail stiff, nose twitching at the cold late fall air rolling in from the tree line. The sky was slate, a warning of winter to come. The wind carried a wet metallic smell, the kind you get just before snow. "Easy, bud," I muttered, more to myself than to him. The key my grandfather left me was cold enough to numb my fingers. The lock protested when I slid it in, groaning like something that hadn't been opened in years. The deadbolt gave with a reluctant squeal, and the door creaked open. The hush hit immediately. The wind fell away as if someone had lowered a dome over the house. My footsteps didn't echo. Even Wilson's breathing sounded loud. The silence wasn't comforting. It was empty, unnatural. The cabin smelled old, dust, dry wood, and something faintly sour beneath it, like wet leaves pressed under stone. I set my bag down near the fireplace and breathed in the cold, the fog of my own exhale rising. "Granddad really let this place go," I muttered. But that wasn't true. I remembered him sweeping the porch every morning, oiling tools after use, keeping the woods at bay with meticulous care. This wasn't neglect. This was abandonment by something that had taken over. Wilson roamed, nose to the ground, tail low. He stopped in the back hallway and let out a soft, uncertain whine. "What's wrong, buddy?" I asked, but he didn't move. He just stared into the shadows pooling there like darker darkness. "All right," I said. "We'll check it together." My boot brushed something on the little table by the door. A folded stack of notebook paper yellowed at the edges. I picked it up carefully. My grandfather's handwriting was unmistakable, tight and slanted. The rules, I blinked. I remembered these, not the words, just the feeling. The nights I'd been told not to ask questions, the times the woods went silent and I hid under the kitchen table until morning. My hands shook as I read, "Never go outside after midnight. If the woods fall silent, stay still, stay quiet. Do not acknowledge voices calling from the tree line. Keep the lantern by the back door lit from dusk till dawn. If you hear knocking on the walls, it isn't for you. Don't respond. The well is not to be uncovered, not for any reason. Wilson will know before you do. Trust him. If something that looks like you tries to come inside, don't let it. Never cross the property line after dark. When winter comes, the rules change." The last rule sat heavy. Nobody ever told me how the rules changed in winter. Wilson nudged my hand, sensing my unease. I tried for normalcy. "You hungry, bud?" I asked. He barely wagged his tail. Then I saw it, outside the window between the trees. A shadow, too tall, gliding without disturbing the branches. Wilson growled low. I whispered, "Probably a deer," but I knew better. Something in the woods was watching. Hours passed. Dusk settled, a soft blue glow in the sky, and the silence grew heavy, pressing in. I filled Wilson's dish. He sniffed but didn't eat, eyes fixed on the door. I unrolled my sleeping bag by the hearth just for the illusion of comfort. The lantern by the back door flickered. I checked it. Wick full, flame steady, but leaning as if something on the other side was breathing against it. Then the knocks began. 3 slow, deliberate raps on the wall, not the door. Wilson's hackles shot up. He growled low and deep. I froze. Rule number 5 screamed in my mind. Don't respond. The knocks came again, slower this time, patient, curious. My pulse hammered. Then a voice, scratchy, soft, right outside the wall. "Alan," not exactly me, but close enough, wrong enough. "Alan, let me in. It's cold." Wilson snarled. The voice came again. "Alan, I'm you. I'm cold." A shadow passed the window, tall, crooked, thin-limbed. Rule number 8, don't let it inside. The The lantern sputtered. Wilson barked, sharp and panicked. The thing outside mirrored it perfectly. I grabbed Wilson's collar and pulled him back. Scratches began along the wall, dragging grooves, slow, deliberate. Then silence. Even Wilson's growl cut off mid-breath. The woods went dead silent. Rule number 2, stay still, stay quiet. I froze. The floorboards vibrated as the weight outside shifted. And then, just as suddenly as it began, normal sounds returned. Leaves rustling, distant owl, wind moving through the trees. Gone. I sank to the floor, trembling, holding Wilson. But when I stepped to the porch the next morning, fresh handprints pressed into the boards, drag marks leading into the woods, and carved into the center deliberately was a single word: Alan. They weren't testing the house anymore. They were testing me. Winter was coming. The rules were about to change. And the quiet outside wasn't just quiet anymore. It was waiting. In Holton, the waiting is always the deadliest part.